Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collector Comics. My name is Jordan, and as always, I'm joined by my plucky co-host sidekick Dakota. And today we are talking all things Avengers. Specifically, we're going to be ranking the Avengers, Dakota. So, again, as we usually say with these rankings, it's not completely comprehensive, right? I mean, if you had ranked every Avenger ever, you could go for a while. But I think we've got basically the core of what you think of as Avengers, even some lesser-known Avengers, and we're going to be categorizing them from GOAT down to, what's our bottom? Is it doo-doo garbage?
I switched up our rankings this time to keep us fresh and fun on here on the Strong Collector Comics. We've got the GOATs, we've got the great, we've got the good. All right, fine, you can come them. And then go home.
That's pretty fair to me, I think. So
yeah, I was gonna say right off the bat, Captain America,
absolute GOAT.
I was gonna say, can he be anything else?
I don't think so. I mean, always loved Cap, and I think he works best on the Avengers. Always loved, despite not having the craziest powers, he's a leader. Everybody looks up to him. So, absolute GOAT.
Right. Ant-Man coming up next. What do you think about Ant-Man? I think, as far as wife beaters go, he's not the worst, but he's also not the best. Is there a best?
You'd almost need more of a yellow jacket for that one, though, Dakota.
Well, I got okay. So
based on his domestic discrepancies.
Okay.
But
maybe Ant-Man's a little better.
Yeah, Ant-Man. It's again kind of hard with Hank Pym though, because it's kind of like he got so many iterations, right?
Right. I was going to say we can consider this Ant-Man and Giant Man.
Okay. I think I'd put him pretty high on the list.
I think a great maybe.
I don't know if he's a goat. I give him a great. I think he adds a lot of scientific prowess to the team, which I think is always a valuable addition.
I mean, where would the Avengers be if Hank Pym hadn't created Ultron? So
that's also true. They would have a lot less to do. So yeah, that does, maybe that keeps them from entering GOAT category of creating the one of your arch nemesis. But
right,
it happens.
Sticking with him, how about Yellow Jacket?
I mean, Yellow Jacket, I think I always liked that he both shrank and grew. That was kind of gave him a bit of an edge. But that was kind of started, I think, at the time where he was going through this identity crisis. So he might be a little bit of a liability in that sense. Going from when he first appeared. What are you feeling?
I would say he could be good, because I agree. I think he's cooler than Ant-Man, but I think Ant-Man is just a little bit more classic than Yellow Jacket. Right. So that's kind of where I fall into where do I do here?
I think a good. I think that's fair.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a... let's nab Hawkeye.
Okay.
Go with Hawkeye.
And where do you think he belongs?
I am a sucker for Hawkeye, Dakota, especially the comic booky purple suited version. But then I'm torn, because it's like, if I'm assembling my team, there's that age-old question of how useful is the guy with the bow and arrow, right? But he's got the experience of being an Avenger for a while, so he might actually have some tactical prowess. I'm trying to decide, though, between my personal bias, whether he's...
I mean, I've always thought that Hawkeye was just a good dude. He's, a little bit arrogant sometimes, but, as he's grown and, kind of get into more modern comics, he's usually going to be a little bit more accepting of, the newer generation, or, somebody, wanting to switch sides and go from, villain to superhero. Because that was kind of his start, was he was given the chance, and now he's, one of those classic Avengers. So I would say great, maybe?
I would say great, too. I'm going to give him a great. Just because, again, if I'm assembling my team, he wouldn't be my, I got to have him there.
Right.
But I think he's iconic enough and cool enough of a character. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
What about let's do... Okay, sorry. What do you got?
I was going to say, I mean, if we're just going to load the top of the list here, I think Thor should be no less than great, but probably should be a GOAT.
I think he's got to be a GOAT, dude.
Good.
You got to put Thor up there. I mean, probably one of your heaviest hitters, that's for sure.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, just love Thor.
I'll hit you with a hot take
on
what could be a heavy hitter that I just have never found any interest, especially within the Avengers, and that's Namor. I say can go home, but
yeah, that never really made much sense to me.
Okay.
Not really much of a team player unless he's in the 1940s playing around with the invaders.
He's powerful and all that, but just kind of a jerk.
Yeah, a little bit too mean. Why you gotta be so mean, Namor? Okay. How about let's do Scarlet Witch?
Okay.
Now this is where it gets complicated, Dakota, because that's Black Widow, but we could do her too.
Oh, Scarlet Witch, my bad. There we go. Scarlet Witch. I was thinking Scarlett Johansson.
That made sense then. You know, I mean, you got the liability of you never know where she's going to be, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, disassembled the Avengers.
Wipe out all the mutants.
She's also very powerful and wiped out all the mutants. I blame, some poor
parenting.
Poor parenting for sure when your dad's Magneto is a little tricky. I like Scarlet Witch a lot, though, dude. I'm almost...
I know. Are you?
I want to go goat, but
you really do.
Say great.
You want to put her as a goat?
No, let's do great. Let's do great.
Let's do great.
You're gonna do what? Good?
I think good is fair for her. Great. I mean, yeah, she's super powerful. So but I feel like that's kind of the problem with her is she's always so nerfed. She's crazy powerful, but she needs to be on a team with the Avengers.
What about Thor? I mean,
I think she's way more powerful than Thor. She could just Thor's gone.
I guess it depends on the writing. All right, I can work with you.
Okay, all right. Maybe there's one. Maybe there's one later. I'll have to trade you to put them both higher.
We'll barter.
Okay,
we'll barter on that. All right.
How about Machine Man? Kind of a weird oddball. Don't see him too often. He was in some Red Hulk comics.
I might give him a fine. You can come.
Fine, you can come.
I have a soft spot for Machine Man just because he's so weird.
Yeah.
But I think in the grand scheme of Avengers hierarchy, it's probably not top of your list.
Okay. How about going off of Scarlet Witch? We got Vision. Two of your cake toppers that the strong collector Vision community has still never seen.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I'll have to share that one. I mean, again, sometimes depends on what version of Vision you're getting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I have always liked Vision. Am I crazy to give him a grade?
I'll give you a great. I think he is a little more... When I'm thinking Avengers, he fits a little bit better than Scarlet Witch does.
Okay.
And I think I like him with the Defenders too, kind of their chaperone-ish.
Right.
So yeah, all right, I'll give you that. Who do you want next?
I think he's got a really cool backstory too. I've always found him to be interesting. I'm going to give you the hot take and give you Sentry's a goat.
Sentry is a goat. He ripped Ares in half. He's completely unstable. You're going to put him on your team?
I'm just more thinking I love the character of the Sentry.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'd trust him on my team, but I just love that character.
Sure.
But in that sense, maybe he should be relegated to a great because he is a bit of a liability, so you got to factor that in.
Okay.
But the Sentry miniseries, Paul Jenkins, is one of my all-time favorites. Highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. But yeah, like you said, he definitely could do a little more harm than good to your team when he starts ripping people in half.
We should do another episode where we build our own, maybe 5-character Avengers team. I think that would be interested to see who we both pick.
I love that.
All right, let's do. I had her up earlier, Black Widow. I have never really loved the character that much. I think she was a lot cooler in the movies than I've ever read in the books. At least as far as a team goes, I bet she could have a pretty cool solo spy type of story.
Yeah.
But when she's with the Avengers,
I think sort of just super assassins become less interesting when you got these over-the-top powered characters. Oh, well, you're hovering.
You gonna let her come, or you gonna tell her to go home?
Wow, you're going that low?
I'd tell her to go home.
Oh my gosh,
Where do you want her?
Good, dude. She's
good. All right. I'll give you a good. I've had to make you bring Scarlet Witch down.
Dude, you're gonna send people into a riot if you.
But also, you're gonna put her. I don't think that.
You what?
Scarlet Witch and Black Widow on the same level, though.
I mean, again, though, it's not purely just your power levels, right? We're saying overall.
All right.
Interest, popularity.
Fine.
A lot of metrics here, man. All right.
We were talking about Ares getting ripped in half. Where are you going to put
Ares? I never really cared for Ares personally, but we just call Thor instead.
I don't disagree with you there. He's kind of. He's strong and stuff, but yeah, Thor's a little bit better than him. He's kind of a jerk. You gonna give him a fine you can come, or are you gonna tell him to go home?
Yeah, we can say that since I know you care for him, so I'll give you that.
He can come?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who do you want?
What about my boy Beast?
I was just thinking about him.
I said he's an X-Men GOAT, but I think when it comes to Avengers, maybe he's not quite GOAT.
I agree with that.
I think I don't even know if we say. I just think he works so well in the context of the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really not, when people say Avengers, you're thinking of Beast. But I think it was a fun time. I'd say at least a good.
Good?
Even though I love the character, I'd give him a good.
You're not going to tell him to go home to the X-Men?
Oh, come on, dude. You're going to give him a fine you can come or go home?
I mean, I think I like his friendship and dynamic with Wonder Man.
Wonder Man? That is a fun dynamic.
But as far as Avengers go,
fine. All right. If you want to say fine, you can come.
All right.
At least don't make him go home, because I want the Beast with us.
All right, fine.
All right.
Who pick somebody on this list that you want to send home? Who's going home?
I'm probably gonna send Star Fox home.
Star Fox is going home. Thanos' brother.
I mean, he basically just makes women fall in love with him. I don't think that's a PR nightmare in this day and age, Dakota.
True. All right, I think that's fair.
I don't know. Who else would I send home? Maybe Stingray?
Stingray? Yeah, I think that's probably not.
Just trying to. I mean, yeah, I'd take Jarvis over Stingray probably in a bind.
Yeah, I think I would also maybe say, who is this, Dr. Druid?
Yeah.
I'm going to be calling Doctor Strange before I call Dr. Druid. I mean, maybe you could say, fine, you could come, but he hasn't really been around much recently, has he?
Yeah, I think that was kind of more earlier books that they featured him in that capacity, so I'm okay with that. We gotta have some people we're not bringing. I don't know. He's got some magic power though. Is that a fine you can come?
Okay. I'll put him up in fine you can come.
All right. Thank you.
What about Iron Man? Because I think Iron Man, people would say he's a goat, but he's also kind of arrogant. So
he's got to be a goat, dude.
A goat. I agree. I think for all of his faults, he's too cool. He's got to be up at the top.
That's fair. Okay.
Who do you want next?
How about Quicksilver?
Okay.
Again, another X-Men overlap.
Yeah.
Crossover.
We had some beef on where Quicksilver should lie on the X-Men ranking. If you haven't seen that, you can go back and watch it.
I mean, a speedster, dude, it's definitely nice. I think it's a good asset on your team.
Yeah.
And I think there have been some books where he's kind of worked through a little bit of his interpersonal issues.
Yeah, and I think I actually do like him more in the Avengers setting versus the X-Men setting. So, where do you think he should lie here, Jordan?
Can I get you to do a good?
I think a good that's where I would have put him as well. Put him right there in the middle. He's good.
All right, he's good.
How about Hulk? Because I feel like he's an OG founding member, but
I've always found the Hulk more interesting on his own, to be quite honest. Usually when you got Hulk Avenger stories, unless you're it's usually just like he's just there to destroy things, right?
Right.
I mean, literally in the first, after like the first 2 issues, didn't he just dip out and leave the team when you think about it?
Right.
So, I think ever since then it's just been like, oh, he was on the first team, but how many really successful Avengers teams have the Hulk on it? But he's very powerful.
You're gonna send him home? Or you're gonna keep him around? What are you gonna do?
Send him home. I think he's a little too. I think he's a little too strong to send him home. But I do love the character of the Hulk. But I gave Sentry a great.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree. I think he does.
I think.
I would say fine, you can come, just because I agree. I like the Hulk story more solo. I like when the Avengers are fighting Hulk, but I don't know that I'd be like, oh yeah, when Hulk teams up with the Avengers, or like that's more what I think of it as, is Hulk is teaming up with the Avengers, not that Hulk is on a team.
It's not like Hulk's on the team. All right, that's fair.
Yeah. So I think that's where he's cool character.
Might be a bit of a hot take, but I think we can stick with that. Okay, another one that I'm having some trouble working through is Spider-Man. I do love Spider-Man once again. Usually like him on his own. And it was obviously fairly recent in comic history that he was an Avenger, but I think he makes for some cool dynamics and he's a good member of the team.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd say he's a GOAT.
Okay.
I don't think he's a good, though. I think he's a great.
Okay. I think that's fair, because I think of Spider-Man and the Avengers around the Civil War time. And I think that was really cool. Probably the coolest that I can remember Spider-Man story within the Avengers. Because I think that was a cool character to have switch sides, where he's, trying to do the right thing and he's like, actually, this isn't it. And then flip-flops. So I agree. I think he's not a GOAT, but a great is a good spot for him.
Pretty great.
From Spider-Man to Spider-Woman.
Oh, I know there are a lot of Spider-Woman fans out there. I think Bendis really pushed her in those new Avenger comics. I read a lot of those. I never really developed much of a fandom around Jessica Drew, but she's good. We'll find you can come.
I think
Would you send her home?
I don't think I would send her home. I think I'd probably say fine, you could come.
I think that's fair.
Think she's cool enough. But I think that's another one where it's like I really only think about her in the context of like Civil War into
a certain set of comic books.
Right. But she's never going to be like, oh, let me just pull out some Avengers off the top of my head. She's probably not going to be on that first bit of the list. One that probably would be on the first bit of the list, though, would be Doctor Strange.
Ooh. When you think of Avengers?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the MCU's fault that
that might be an MCU fault. But I think in recent comics, even in the past, 15 years, I think he's done a little more integration into those teams. So,
where I'm not saying I would put him as a GOAT or anything. That's not going that far.
Right.
But I think he would, for me, maybe be in the good category. Maybe I think that's great.
Fair. Personally, I think in the MCU, I like the idea of him on the Avengers, working with them. In the comics, again, I kind of more prefer Doctor Strange in his own little mystical corner of the world. But I think good is fair.
All right.
I think that's fair.
Who do you want next?
How about my guy, Hercules?
Okay. And what are you feeling about Hercules?
It feels like they absorbed a lot of Hercules' personality into Thor in the movies, where he's kind of more of like the goofier god, kind of more a little laid back. So I think people maybe forget that part. But I've always thought he'd be cool to see if they got him more in the movies. And I like Hercules, so I'd still probably give him a good.
Good. All right. Is there another GOAT on this list, you think? The goats are looking a little lonely up on the top. Not that we have to have anything even here, but
I think Jarvis is a GOAT personally. But
Jarvis is a GOAT. Hot take.
Alone. Come on, dude. He's been with the team since the beginning. He knows all the ins and outs. He's always going to be there to give you the moral pep talk, get you going.
I think I agree with you.
Keeps the place clean. Keeps everybody fed. Come on. You don't want a bunch of hungry, cranky Avengers. So I'm going to fight for that.
It would have been kind of fun to get a Jarvis in the MCU that was a little more Alfred-like than the AI Jarvis that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a little bit of a missed opportunity there, but I don't know. It worked out okay. I think the only other one that I think mainstream would say should be up in the GOAT category would be Black Panther. But what do you think? Because I don't know if I would say he's a GOAT. Like, you could argue that he is. But
another one that until recent years and really MCU stuff, I never really thought of him as like a mainstay Avenger. Like, again, kind of like the Hulk, he'll team up. You know, he shows up. But I'm not like, my Avengers team's got Black Panther on it. Sure. I like Black Panther, sure.
I think I will say, like, this picture I have is kind of more your classic Black Panther. Yeah. I like that more than the current Black Panther, where he's got like the vibranium suit and like MCU where it's like storing kinetic stuff. I'm like, that's just
Black Panther's just a little too much going on, man.
Yeah, I liked when he's a little bit more Batman-ish.
That's fair.
So where does he lie on this list?
I think you could stick him where you had him there in a good.
Good? All right.
Or is he a great?
I think...
I don't know if he's a great.
He's one of the smartest guys in the world.
That's true.
I feel like that's like... If I was going to pick out smart guys to have on my team, I maybe would want him on my team more than I would want Ant-Man.
All right.
So we'll put him up in the greats.
That's true.
One that I don't think is too amazing is Tigra. I feel like she'd be on the bottom-ish of this list.
Just send her to the West Coast.
Go home? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I'm probably okay with that. Yeah.
I agree with that. How about Jane Foster Thor? Because I don't think she's as cool as Thor.
Definitely not.
Is she great?
I'd probably put her in the...
You gonna send her home?
No, I wouldn't send her home.
Get that MCU out of here, Jordan? That's what you think?
MCU out of here. I could give her... I don't know. I think you really kind of screwed me with Scarlet Witch going into a good, but, you know, I could give her a good.
Give her a good? You want Scarlet Witch to be a great?
I think so, man.
All right. I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. How about She-Hulk?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we can go She-Hulk. Let's go She-Hulk now and then Wasp next.
I think She-Hulk is a good call because you get not quite as powerful as a Hulk, but you get the power with a little more sense and quite the following for She-Hulk. So
right.
I like She-Hulk. I don't know if I'd go GOAT.
I think she's a great. Well, we got to go great or good, right? If she's above Hulk. What's it going to be, Jordan? I'll let you decide.
I'm going to say I'll give her a good because I don't like her as much as I like Scarlet Witch, and I give her a great. So I got to be considerate of that.
All right. So I said Wasp was going to be next. Founding member of the Avengers.
I think Wasp. I'm gonna go hot take GOAT.
Hot take GOAT.
Well, maybe for you, hot take. I think she's regarded as a pretty foundational member, has been with most iterations of the team, has a lot of experience, some leadership, and
I agree.
I think works well with group dynamics. So
all right. I will agree that she can be in the GOAT category.
I feel like we're just like making each of these characters resumes.
Right.
Attention to detail.
Let's do Photon.
You know, Sam is going to get upset if I rank Photon low. I think Photon does have some cool... I mean, again, some fun powers. I don't really know if I've really seen her fully realized in the story, though, as, like, great character.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know if I'd go that high. I might do a fine income on that, to be honest.
All right, good. I was hoping you were going to try to argue her as a great or something.
All right.
Does Sam even watch these episodes?
Yeah, probably not. How about Miss Marvel, Warbird?
Warbird, I think that one I would rank higher than Photon. I like her. I don't think I would put her as GOAT.
Good?
Great if you were really passionate about her, but I think good is fair.
Yeah, I think good's fair.
Okay.
Okay.
Moon Knight. Kind of not really an Avenger too much, but I mean he was in the West Coast Avengers and
it's true. I do like Moon Knight.
Moon Knight is cool. Probably not one that you think of, though, as an Avenger.
True. Is he good? I give him good in that sense.
All right.
But do you think that's generous?
I think good is generous, but I think it's fair. I think he is good.
I am a sucker, Dakota, for Wonder Man.
You are. I
don't
also.
know if say GOAT, but I might give him a great.
I think GOAT would be out of your mind.
I think he's just too fun of a character to rank lower than a great.
I mean, I think he's cool with like this look, kind of from. I think of this look with the Mighty Avengers a little bit more, but even his like black with the red W, I like that. I like when he's powered up purple.
Right.
I would like to read some more Wonder Man stories, so I might have to dig into Marvel Unlimited for some of those.
That's fair.
Another MCU character that I've never cared too much about is Falcon.
Yeah, me neither. But personally,
I don't know.
I think he's a fine you can come maybe, but even then, I can maybe send him home to be honest. But
I think
we gotta have. I
don't know. I think he's right on the cusp. I think he's classic enough that he can be a fine you can come. But like I do prefer kind of this classic version. Like I don't know. Like I get that you have to kind of soup him up to give him some like technology and stuff because in today's day and age of comics you got to be something or another. But I kind of don't mind when he's just flying around and you don't need to have a whole arsenal of other tricks and doodads. You're just a fly guy.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
What we got? Pretty small list here. Who do you want to go with next?
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage.
There's Luke Cage. Really, till the new Avengers era did we get Luke Cage there. I think he proved himself as a pretty good member of the team.
Yeah.
Maybe give him a good, to be honest. I don't think he's a great.
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
How about Firestar? I feel like she's kind of bottomish.
Might be fine income. I don't think I'd send it home. I'd feel bad.
Yeah.
Swordsman, pretty useless, but I love his costume.
I agree.
So I think I'd say fine income just because he can keep us entertained. Now, if it was the version of Swordsman, well, I guess he wasn't on the Avengers though. But when they updated him with Thunderbolts, he really kicked some booty. But
that wasn't even Swordsman. That was like Baron Zemo's son or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, maybe you're right. It's been a while.
Or was it Strucker? I don't remember.
Oh yeah, you're right. There was that.
Yeah, there was the Strucker twins.
All right. I think Black Knight's cool.
I think Black Knight's pretty cool too.
I'd put him up in great category.
Ooh, baby.
I mean, he's different, He kind of brings a unique flair to the team.
I think I'll just defer to your judgment on that because the costume to me is all it takes for me to be like, yep, that's one of my favorites.
Right. And I wouldn't give him really GOAT, but I think great is pretty fair.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think as much as I like his costume, I would have had to argue there's no way he's a GOAT. But yeah, I think great is acceptable. Last one we've got is Mockingbird. Where do you rank her?
Mockingbird. I do also like Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Put her on the level of a great. I was going to go great or GOAT.
I would
or not great or GOAT. Great or good. Great or good.
Calm down, dude. Let's go good. Right. GOAT would have been out of your mind. I think this is a pretty fair list for. Yeah. I mean, our hot takes here aren't really that hot. I mean, like Jarvis being a GOAT is maybe a hot take.
Maybe.
I think.
I will say the fans will be remiss, Dakota, if we don't mention Rick Jones.
Okay, yeah.
And I think many people will put him in the GOAT category.
Really? Okay. I guess he's kind of like
I think we'd put him
somewhat of a founding member,
isn't he? He brought the team together. I mean, he was technically, he was the one who assembled them in the first place. Mm. He was Bucky for a while. He was bound with Captain Marvel as Marvel.
Okay.
So I think he's pretty cool. I'd put him high on the list just for the history of the character. But
okay.
a little more civilian-y.
Sure. I feel like we're going to have a lot of folks angry about Stingray and Namor. I mean, anytime you have this bottom category, somebody's going to be like, oh, no, that's my favorite. That's a goat.
It's great.
And anybody that says that these 4 are goats, hate to break it to you, but no shot.
Send Dakota a strongly worded essay, and you might be persuaded.
Make sure you use MLA format, cite your sources.
That's right.
And I will reconsider. Maybe we'll just redo this whole video. Falcon, I think some people might argue should be higher. Yeah. But at the same time, I mean,
I'm not calling Falcon if I'm going into a scrap, dude. Sorry.
If you're getting attacked by an alien force, what is Falcon really going to do?
Yeah. I gotta say, I agree. That is what we've got for our Avengers ranking. So, of course, as always, comment below. Let us know. Are we way off? Did we put Stingray way too low? And is Dakota nuts for sending Namor home? And we also have some of our other videos where we rank the X-Men. We also did the X-Men villains. And let us know if you'd like to see any more rankings. I'm sure we'll have more of those to come. But as always, be liking, sharing, subscribing. And until next time, stay strong.